I said it'll come back around. This is where you get it back. It'll be a concatenate question. Spend a minute or two on it, try it, but that one's a no pressure question. Give it a try. Remember, you had to take a number in concatenate, you add a couple more numbers, then you convert it to scientific notation. So these are the functions that will be on the project. The project's in 2 weeks. You're going to get a file that looks just like this, except it's aircraft parts. I don't know anything about planes. You don't need to. The first thing you and your partner are going to want to do is get rid of the top 3 rows, get rid of the column. There you go. It's going to be a much shorter file. This one is what? How many rows long? I forget it. Let's drag it down. It is 4,833. The one you're going to have in 2 weeks, I think, is 100, 150. But it's going to be the same thing. You're going to have data sets, years. You're going to have airplanes in 12 months. It'll be very, very similar to this. And then you're going to have 10 questions. You're going to work on with your partner, and you'll have an hour. But really, from what I just told you, you really have 9 questions to worry about. Because I'm going to give you the concatenate, as long as you've answered it. Spend a minute or two on it, give it a try. But if you can't figure it out, just pick an answer, move on to the next one. If you leave it blank, I can't give you the answer. You have to at least have tried that question. Please, just try. But outside of that, you will have 9 questions with your partner, 1 hour. That means you have about 6.5 minutes for each question. You will probably, I went through this on the weekend, redid it myself. Even knowing what I'm doing, it still takes a minute or two for each question to sort the spreadsheet. So sorting is the most challenging part of the project. Being able to sort the spreadsheet to get what you want. So for example, if it asks you for 2 airplane types for a certain year, being able to sort it for those 2, then extract what you want. So my advice will be the same as it was for this. Once you have this set up, you cleaned out the garbage, save it, call it whatever you want. So working copy, I'll call it working copy. So you can constantly just keep reopening it. I know even myself when I was doing it on the weekend, I just went back and reopened it a couple times. Because I just made a mess sorting it. So there is a little bit of intricacy, tricky, difficulty, whatever word you want to use, in sorting it for the correct thing. So just a couple times I go, okay, I made a mess. And when I made a mess, I would just close it and open a new copy. I didn't try and fix it. For each question, I would suggest open a new one. Once you've messed around with it for the next question, because all your questions won't be in just one data set. Question 1 may be data set A, question 2 may be data set B. So you're going to have to do quite a bit of sorting. Sorting is the most important function. My suggestion is take this auto one and just a couple times sort it for data set B, sort it for data set A, sort it for data set D year 3 and extract that. Get good at just sorting this and extracting what you need. If you can do that, that's going to save you a whole bunch of time on this, and you can actually figure out what the problem's asking. As for the functions themselves, sorting to me was the trickiest part of the whole project when I went through it. It's going to test your skills. Can you sort a spreadsheet for the data you need? The next one, you're going to need to know, remember the FX button? To bring up the functions. FX, whatever functions you need. So if it asks you for, I'll go back, I'll go to data, sort. I'm going to sort by data set. I'm going to add a level, sort by year. If I ask you for year 2, Toyota Highlander and Toyota Land Cruiser, for January, February, and March, what is the sum of the sales? So f of x, sum, pick the data you want. Okay, there's the sum. There would be your answer. But the longest part of it will probably be sorting to find where is what you want. And that's why you have a part, 2 of you, to figure out what the question's asking. So it probably won't be the Excel functions. One of you will probably remember f of x, sum. The tricky part will be sorting the spreadsheet to get it to what you want. And since you all took the time to stay, I'll give you a sneak peek of the spreadsheet. Show you what I mean. Okay, project. Download, take a look. Okay, it looks like this. You're going to wipe out those top 3 rows, wipe out that column. You'll see there's period, because they're all aircraft of certain historical era. Year, data set, brand, model, and 12 months of data. Very similar to the auto one, only new column is the period. So you'll have to answer questions using the data to be able to sort for whatever the question asks. Now, 2 of you should be very achievable. So you will need to know sum. Well, sorting isn't really a function, but it's so sum, concatenate. This one, I'll make you give me as long as you try it, and the pair of you answer it. You will need to be able to do median. There's a question on median. Once again, remember median's a function up here. Then find whatever it is you need to get the median of. Average, same thing. Be able to find the average of whatever numbers it asks you for. I think that's all. Oh, also min and max. Min, find the minimum number of a row of numbers, be able to find the max. All of those are fairly the math ones, right? Median, average, sum, min, max, all the kind of mathematical functions. After that, there is one for pivot tables. You remember pivot tables? We're going way back. Insert pivot table. So we want to turn this into a table, so make this a table. There we go. Now, insert pivot table. I'm going to set up a new worksheet. Now, the project's going to introduce, and this annoyed me, so I'm going to just tell you so you know ahead of time. project is going to tell you what goes in the rows. It's going to tell you what goes in sigma. Sigma what? We haven't used that term in this course. By sigma, they just mean, see the sigma sign there? Whatever goes in here. So the question sounds trickier than it is when you get to it. If you read the question carefully, you all have the time to read it. It'll tell you what goes in the rows. It'll tell you what goes into the sigmas. If it doesn't tell you anything for columns, leave the column blank. Just do what it asks. So the question is actually the question was so simple, I was kind of kept trying to figure out what goes in the columns. I finally realized if I just followed the question, did the rows, did the sigma, it's solved it. So don't overthink that question. So for example, it may be Brandon Rose, January, February, March, in the sigma. There you go. You can now tell me what is the sum of Audi for January, February, March. What is the sum of those? 966,040. That's going to be the pivot table question. So don't do what I did. On the weekend, so I looked up, what do they mean by sigma here? I'm used to statistics. What did they mean here? Because we're not doing statistical analysis. What they meant was just a little sigma sign at the bottom. So the question's going to tell you what to drag and drop here, what to drag and drop there. And then after that, when you've got this here, you have to use your logic. You realize, okay, I've got the numbers here. What are the ones I have to add up? Go in and use the sum. That's a pivot table question. So each of these, take a second or two, well, I find out in 30 seconds, and read the question carefully with your partner and figure out what it's asking. Okay, so that's pivot tables. For charts, there's going to be questions on, let's look at the chart types. Column, pie, and putting trend lines in them. So as long as you can build whatever one kind of chart, you can build the rest. So, take this, instead of fixing this up, let's just get rid of it. Okay, so if I want a pie chart for these two, or a column, I'll do a column. Insert column chart. Selected the data, inserted the chart, then I realized, oh, the question wants a pie chart. You don't have to rebuild. Just put your cursor here, right click, change chart type. If you can build one chart, you can build the rest. Just right click, change chart type. So if you're more comfortable building a column chart, but the question wants a pie, build the column, right click, change to a pie chart. Whatever way is easier to get there. Now, for the questions, when you do them on the project, remember, cleaning them up, putting in the y-axis, the x-axis, changing everything. Why? It's a multiple choice question. I'm not going to see your work. So don't get lost fixing your chart up and making it beautiful with the proper label and the proper axis measurements and all that. It doesn't matter, I won't see your work. As long as it gives you enough information to pick the correct answer, you know what I mean? Move on with your life.
You don't need to copy and paste it.
Yeah, don't. You're gonna just, kind of like your test, you're gonna get 4 or 5 pictures, so when it asks you to build a pie chart, do enough that it'll show you which one's the correct one, and don't start fixing up the legends and everything. Doesn't matter. I'll never see your work. Groups can't really help each other because for each question, there's, I think, over 10 versions of questions. So the odds of anyone else having the same version as you are pretty much no. But just do enough. Like, don't take the time to change the title of the movie. No one will ever see that. So why? Unless you're someone who has OCD, like you're so uptight that even your practice work has to be. Well, don't laugh. My sister's like that. She was doing this. She would take the time to still clean up the chart, even though no one's going to see it. She would spend the time of her life to do it and drive her partner nuts. But that's a different matter. Okay, with pie charts, remember, format data series. You will have to put in the angle of the first slice. You will be asked to put in explosion. Remember, right click, format data series. There we go. You'll want to do that because you're going to have to do that to match the picture that you were given. So I'll do it once more. So this time, January, February, March. Insert pie chart. Right click, format data series. Change the angle of the slice, change the angle of the explosion. Get the angle and the explosion correct and match it to the picture. If you get one of the chart questions right, you should get the other ones right? Because all you have to do is right click to get the next chart type. And that's those questions. Trend lines. Okay, so let's pick a different vehicle. I get tired of it. Let's take an Alfa Romeo. Let's take this to July. Insert column chart. Do we remember how to add a trend line? Go up top, trend line. Pick the correct one. That's the trend line. Cut. Let's do this vehicle. Insert, table. Go. Let me cut them. Okay, we'll take these two. Insert column chart. Now, trend line. You notice since I have 2 variables, it has now asked me which one do I want to do the trend line on. Because there's 2 columns, right? Which of these do you want to do? So if you have a column chart with a couple variables, look at it carefully. When you get here, just pick the correct one. Put the trend line in the correct place. There you go. And match it to the picture. On to the next question. And the question with the trend line, the longest part, and I time myself with my phone and set the timer for each question, the longest part is sorting the spreadsheet. To sort it to get what you want. When the project was designed, it was designed to get you working through the spreadsheet, and sorting is the largest. I had to give you one hint or tip. Just practice sorting through here, pulling things out. Or make up a question for your friend, right? Say for data set A for the Audi A3 in year 1 for the first 6 months, those sales compared to data set C, Audi e-tron for the first 6 months. Pick stuff like that and force each other to sort for it. And that should have you ready. Min and max, concatenate, union. So concatenate's off. There's no VLOOKUP, I told you that, right? Don't go. I didn't give you this question back before VLOOKUP as long as you attempt it. Median, average, min, and max, those are all the math functions, right? Those are all found up here, f of x, pick the function, and walks you through. Brings us down to pivot tables I showed you, right? Remember when it says sigma? And to build a pivot table, turn your spreadsheet into a table, insert pivot table, rows are rows. If it tells you what sigma should be, there's the sigma, drag it over. And I forget if rows or columns is missing. I think on the questions, some of them don't have columns, some of them don't have rows. Whatever question you get, you might not have both. That's okay, you don't need it. Okay, min, max, trend lines. So the last thing we have, which one? Pivot table? Okay. So, oh, that one I don't want to. Working copy. Here we go. So, you have to do a pivot table. Insert, turn this into a table. And go back, insert, pivot table. Now you have the pivot table open. You can drag and drop whatever you need to, whatever the question asks you. If it says model columns, there you go. And then it tells you some months for sigma. Just drag and drop. Build it the way it asks you to. The question's actually, if you read it carefully, is pretty straightforward. The only reason I struggled with the first one was I tried to do more than it asked. So it'll tell you what goes in the rows or the columns or the sigma column. It'll tell you what to do. Just follow the directions. And after you've done that, you may have to add things up, sum or average, that you already know. Which leaves us one function I want to cover with you, and then I'll let you go. I've gone longer than I meant to. I didn't mean to keep you this long. Is exponential triple smoothing. Remember that? ETS? Okay. So we will pick two models of cars. I just picked these randomly. When you get your question, you're going to have a data set, a year, and certain months. Go pull them up. I'm going to use ILX and MDX. And I'm going to take the last 3 months of the year. And I'm going to try and figure out what would the next year start to look like. So the easiest way is don't use month names. The algorithm doesn't know month names. So I'm taking, let's take the ILX. I want to know, after this year, what are the next 3 years going to be? So take these. I'll make the largest. Take these numbers, figure out what the next ones would be. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. We want to know what the next 2 periods are. So it's 5 and 6. And put the numbers beside it. 1753, 2105, 1928, 1980. We don't know 5 and 6. So you see what I did? I just built a little table using these. The question will ask you. It'll give you an aircraft, the part number, whatever. I'll sort the spreadsheet, go find the data. And take the data, build it in a little table, number, and then it tells you for the next 2 periods, the next 4, whatever, then put a couple blank numbers. Forecast sheet's going to fill those in. It's going to tell you what January and February of the next year should be. So, come here. highlight this. Go to data, forecast sheet. There. Threw it up for you. All you have to do now is hit options, and the project will give you a confidence interval. I'll say it's 70. Forecast end, I wanted to go, forecast to start 4, go to 6. Create. There we go. It's giving you the values for year 5 and 6, and it's giving you a chart. It's filled it in, forecast. All you had to do, the hardest part, once again, is going to be sorting the spreadsheet to get the data that it wants you to use. If you're comfortable with sorting, and you'll be fine. So here, I just pretended the question asked me for Acura ILX dataset year 4, using the last 4 months of the year. What are the forecasts for the first 2 months of the next year? So I lifted the data out, numbered it off, left these 2 blanks blank, and just hit forecast sheet, and it did all the work. That's probably the trickiest question. So once again, try this once or twice. Download the auto sales. You still have it from test number 2. Download it. Pick a car model. Pick one you like. Pick the last couple months of the year. Hit forecast sheet. Figure out what the next couple months will be for the next year. That's probably the most difficult question, just because you got to remember how to do that. But even there, it's just hitting forecast sheet. That'll be the project. 10 questions. Really down to 9, because I'll give you contact and payback for the VLOOKUP question. That's the project. Don't go back and review stuff we're not going to do, text to column, 3D mapping. Don't go back to any of that. We're not redoing it. It's not coming up again. That'll be the project. You'll do it in your pairs. I think we did all your pairs last week, right? Yep.